What's up, guys? It's TheeFloydy of the TheeFloydy YouTube channel, of course, and today we're going to be looking at my blog page. So I have a WordPress account where I do blogs for uni and things like that, and today I thought I'd go through some of my earlier ones. So as you'll see, I have some more. That's from my Living Life podcast, which I do want to try and do more regularly, more on that sometime down the line. But I have these recent blogs, wrestling game, 10 wrestling study, what can compare to Big Rip, and so on and so forth. All these ones from this year and such, but I want to go back to 100 level, back to the beginning, and read some of my blog posts from early on, my initial blog posts doing BCM, Bachelor of Communications and Media. So we're going to go straight into BCM 110 because I believe there is a interesting one here. So indeed, if we continue reading, YouTube turns to boxing. Now, in this one, as you can see, I talked about the KSI versus Joe Weller boxing event. So I'm going to have a little read through this, and we're going to see what young Floydy was on about when writing about this. So I think we had to talk about audience for this blog post. So getting straight in. The term media audience can mean a variety of things, as can be the content which the audience is viewing. A little over a month ago, I had a rather unique experience as part of an audience. I watched a YouTube boxing event headlined by KSI and Joe Weller. So yeah, talking about audience, obviously I've hyperlinked the event itself. GG's to me for that. There is some interesting things coming up. Image, crediting Highlight Football for that one. Good job, me, crediting for your work. That's yeah, whatever, as we keep moving here. The only thing perhaps stranger than the event itself was my emotional investment. Very true. When the main event came around, I found myself genuinely nervous, so passionately wanting KSI to win. To see one of my favourite YouTubers, yep, I'm a KSI fan, nice little funny bit of brackets going on there, just a little cheeky side note. To see one of my favourite YouTubers get knocked out would have been awful, that is if it had happened. Which it of course didn't. Following KSI's TKO victory, it only got worse after listening to Josh Zerka yell "Focus" at JJ consistently and the passionate screams of the sidemen throughout the contest. Their cries of joy following the conclusion was a surprisingly touching moment. That's one sentence that has gone 3 lines there, but whatever. After KSI's body transformation and his success against a real athlete, Joe Weller 2018, I quoted a YouTuber, which is an interesting approach to a blog, using a YouTuber as a quote. Yeah, but anyway, it came off to me as quite a motivational situation in which his hard work paid off. I mean, the rest of the sidemen were practically crying, like, look at the state of this. And this is an image taken from Twitter of all the boys having a cry. Vidal Riley there, his trainer, Toby with the buzz trim there, Mini Minter with the wavy thing, and Harry just big nose going off there, just with the just very emotional. I mean, if that isn't goals, anyway, again, bit of instilling some comedy in my blogs. Interesting. While a low quality live stream and a low quality of boxing hindered the undercard, the main event proved to be an exciting conclusion to the YouTube rivalry that caused the event's creation. It was an experience like no other, as I was part of what I would label one of the strangest audiences to come together in the modern era. It reminded me of watching wrestling as a child. KSI got booed out of the building, and Joe Weller came out to the screams and cheers of thousands. Only these were not 2 athletes who had undergone years of training in their sport. These were 2 men famous for their videos showcased to millions on YouTube, now coming together to fight after months of build-up, stemming from an issue many believe to be fake, staged, made up for their own profit. That's true. I will never forget that event. Its success was groundbreaking, pushing the boundary on what YouTube stardom can involve. The largest white-collar boxing event to ever take place, a record I thought would stand for a long time. And now KSI is going to box Logan Paul. But now more on that later, I explained. So there you have, that was one of the first blogs I ever wrote. And yeah, I think, did I ever do anything for that class for the KSI vs Logan Paul one? I thought I did, but I don't seem to have it displayed here. So yeah, I guess we'll leave that one there. Switching lanes now to BCM 112. This is where the meme subjects start to come out, where we do 150 word blogs with a self-created meme attached to them. And so here's what we did. Here's what I did. Was this the first of my my blogs. I don't believe. Did I create any? Oh no, this is my original artifact. I don't want to. That's the DA I did shits, gigs, and YouTube vids, I think. But that's not what I want to focus on. I want to focus on one in which I made memes. Ah yes, okay, here we go. Here's a meme. Can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it up a bit so it doesn't look so obviously copied. Okay, propaganda and memes. I believe that's the guy that came up with the term memes, and it's saying that memes are propaganda, so that they're basically propaganda just in a reshaped form, hence the stealing your homework format. Anyway, the medium is the message. The idea that the platform through which you view a message can influence your perception of the message itself. I've said message 3 times in 4 lines, that's fine. While initially confusing, it makes sense. But does this? Oh, the idea of memes at its origin was portrayed as a way of spreading an ideology from mind to mind. It had been demonstrated to us in this week's lecture that the ideology as a whole originated in 1976 with Richard Dawkins' creation of the term meme. That's Richard Dawkins. This made me question something. While the idea was certainly labelled at that time, had the same philosophy not existed through propaganda decades earlier? Propaganda exists as a means to convey a message, often from a government, which is something we also heavily associated with the idea of the meme in our tutorial. Am I crazy or am I onto something? Probably just crazy. Certainly an interesting thought. I mean, calling your own blog interesting is a bit much, but I mean, we'll allow it. Is there any other? YouTube is a copyright machine. That's relevant. Wait, I did something on SoundCloud? Hold on. Let me see what this is. Oh, this was when, okay, so I took a lecture and I made it and I chopped it up so it sounded different. So I'll play this now.
So, today we're going to focus on a fair bit of heavy duty stuff. Yeah.
This is also in my BCM 112 video. Oh, you have to go to SoundCloud to hear more. Anyway, that whole thing is...
So this is really interesting. Yeah, so this is...
Okay, I'll just play it here.
For hours and hours.
I mean, if you think about YouTube channels that you would watch.
Oh, and there's just a pause where I put subscribe to TheeFloydy.
Depressing experience.
Yeah, there's...
Might say in the feedback, oh yeah, I saw you on the telly.
But I didn't edit that into the audio, so...
Yes, in your brain.
That's interesting.
We get too many hate comments.
Yeah. That's always a great go-to, isn't it? Yeah, talk to them.
Yeah.
Especially not.
Anyway, you get the idea. I remediated a lecture to sound funny, basically. Turn that into a SoundCloud audio thing because we had to do different platforms. The internet is a copy machine. It in itself acts as a platform for content to be published and remixed into endless amounts of memes, all of which can draw from different ideas and fit different purposes. For this week's remediation, I took the online lecture produced for this subject and remixed it myself to fit the purpose of a video I made focused on BCM 112. That video is still on my channel if you want to watch it. I might link it in the description if I remember. It's a pretty funny video, I think. Oh, and it's also linked there, so there you go. The audio itself establishes the idea that anything can be remixed and altered with the tools and technology available to modern society. Wording could be different, but we'll allow it. Further, the cutting and changing of content from the lecture aligns itself with many meme formats associated with BCM 112, turning what was originally a piece of content produced for a university subject into something more resembling a humorous meme. With that, it's clear that remix culture expands upon more than memes, but into propaganda pieces that can fit an agenda. I loved talking about propaganda, it seemed. Seems like that's something I want to bring up a lot in these different blog posts. Command C is of course a reference to the copy function on Macs. Is there anything, do I want to skim through? Like if we look at my media ethics and law class, should we be responsible for publications by third parties on our social media? I'll just skim this because it's probably more... Oh, so we have to talk about different legal cases and stuff. Oh, I remember that. This inevitably raises the ethical question of whether a journalist should fulfill their legal obligation in sharing a source when asked, avoiding a contempt of court charge, or if they maintain their credibility as a journalist and fulfill a source's desire to remain anonymous. Jesus, that's as is fittingly subtitled within the same article on dundaslawyers.com, is failing to remove third-party testimonials publishing. The central question that arose from this case was whether or not failure to... Okay, I think I wrote that sentence a bit shit. But basically, yeah, got a bunch of quotes in there. Oh god, the MEAA Code of Ethics. This is why I just like the meme part of class. classes. The implications, got quite a lengthy bit here. What did I write for a conclusion? Let's go through my conclusion. Ethically speaking, we're taught to be accountable for our own actions and comments. However, when it comes to operating a social media page, for businesses in particular, there is a responsibility to monitor the comments made by any individual, justified by the influence reviews have on consumers. Businesses need to monitor comments made on their pages, as it can be as influential and ultimately detrimental as any traditional sense of misleading advertising. As ACCC Chairman Graham Samuel highlighted, as the host of the website, you become responsible for them, so you must take steps to have them removed. And there you go, there's that blog. That's quite a lengthy one, went into a little bit of some sources, some different things. Yeah, it's interesting. Reading over my old blogs. If you want to read any of my blogs, they're all available to the public. TheeFloydy.wordpress.com. You can see a bunch of my uni stuff, the more academic side of TheeFloydy. Like there is one, like I'm not just a dum-dum. Anyway, I might leave this video here. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe. And with this video done, the last 3 videos of this month are all going to be talking about some stuff. So we're 3 videos away. Well, we're 2 videos away from the big video, but we're 3 videos away from being done with daily uploads. What a journey it's been. The 28th today. Which makes this 4 weeks. 4 weeks of uploads. Well, hey, your boy smashing it out of the park. But that'll be it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.